Well, hey, everybody, this is Kim Kent, and welcome to another episode of Kim's Corner, which is powered by the Education Entrepreneurship Lab. I am so excited to have my friends with me today, and we are going to talk about single parent homeschooling. You know, there is this myth that's out there. Y'all know I'm a myth buster, but there's this myth out there that if you're a single parent, there is no way that you're going to homeschool. What are you thinking? And so I thought it would be really wonderful to bring some of my friends along with us to talk about single parent homeschooling, what some of the journeys that we've had, some of the trials we face, and then some of our incredible outcomes. Because y'all know I'm all about talking about our success stories. And so we are here with my friends. I'm going to ask everybody to come around and just introduce yourselves. And my first question, of course, is going to be, why did you choose to homeschool? And then from there, we're just going to launch off and just get into this conversation about homeschooling as single parents. So how about Amber, you take it first.
Hello, my name is Amber by Eth, and I actually chose to homeschool when I was married. I'm a divorced woman, but it's okay. I chose to home. We actually chose to homeschool, and when we divorced, I said, you know what? I still want to homeschool.
Mhm.
I wanted to homeschool because I wanted to see my kids grow up. I didn't want to be the mom that was always at work. I'm missing life, with the kids. So I just said, you know what? I'm going to do this. I have no choice. I just wanted to be with my babies and watch them grow together. They're only 15 months apart.
Wow.
So, and that's what we did, you know.
I love it. I love it. And then Danita, tell us about you. Why did you choose to homeschool?
Uh, I can't remember how long I actually wanted to homeschool before I actually started.
Mhm.
COVID, of course, kicked me into it,
Yeah.
but I'm an educator by trade. I actually taught every single grade there is to teach, including college. I mean, from first grade all the way through 12th, all the grades
Wow.
and college as well. And when COVID happened and I had to spend it was third grade for my son at that time,
Mhm.
and I had to spend my time deciphering the assignments that the teachers were giving out
Mhm.
and going, now, if I wasn't an educator, I know I wouldn't understand this because there is
Right.
no way the
Mhm.
people who aren't educators are figuring this out and doing with it. You know what? Never mind. If I got to figure it out and then send it back to you to be graded only for it to be wrong, I'd rather have the autonomy. I'll do it myself. So at the end of third grade, I made the decision to figure out what it took and then send the paperwork in to the county to be a homeschooler. But I had investigated before, and ironically, I had investigated the same homeschool I ended up at. Didn't even realize it was the same school that a friend had brought me to years prior to that.
Wow.
So, yeah, and I was still married then, like Amber. I'm also
Mhm.
divorced.
Mhm.
So I was married when I was investigating it, had investigated the same homeschool co-op and wasn't able to make that move at that time.
Mhm.
But when I was in COVID, I was single by that time. So
Mhm.
I had no one to ask. So I
Mhm.
didn't.
All
There you
right.
go. Oh,
All
did I say
right.
my name is Danita? You said it.
Yes,
Okay,
you
wonderful.
did. And then Joy, tell us your story.
My story is somewhat similar to Danita's.
Mhm.
It was the pandemic that was the catalyst to really get me thinking about homeschooling. I have to admit, up until that point, when I thought about homeschooling, Kim, I
Mhm.
believed the myths.
Mhm.
I had no real concept of what it could be and how it could be and how successful
Mhm.
um, it could be for the family and for the student. But during the pandemic, I was like, oh my goodness, I need to have some line of sight
Mhm.
into what is happening with my child, what he's learning, how he's learning. Um, and I can't remember who came to me. It was another parent that came to me and said, I know some things about homeschooling. I can't remember if they saw it on Facebook or
Mhm.
they had some exposure to it that was significantly or virtually the opposite of the myths. And I was like, okay, I'll look into it. We'll look into it together. And we started talking to other moms who had homeschooled and had homeschooled successfully, who had
Mhm.
children who had graduated high school, homeschool through the homeschool program, had received significant scholarships and awards to go to college, had graduated college, were in master's programs, PhD programs, just doing exceptionally well, moving on with their education. Or if it wasn't that, maybe they had moved on to the trades or what have you. But nevertheless, the stories were incredibly successful and moving. And together with a few other moms, we were convinced to take the leap. And we've never looked back. So that's my story.
I love it. I love it. And as many of you know, I started out married again, homeschooling my kids. My husband passed. And for me, it was not even an option not to stop homeschooling because, coming out of that trauma, I wanted a level of continuity for my kids to be able to continue what they had known. They already had huge disruption. And at least this piece of it, I was able to keep for them. So I love it. All right, y'all. So let's talk because the myths that are out there. I'm sure people looked at you and were like, "What are you doing? You going to do what?" So come on, let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. Anybody?
Well, I'll just say that when I first started homeschooling, I said, okay, I don't want to break my children. That was the one thing that was just like, I knew it was something that I wanted to do, but I was like, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
I wasn't trusting myself
Yeah.
into being that teacher to my children. But, when I talk to different homeschool moms about how, you don't have to do this, you don't have to, and you can use this curriculum and intertwine it with this and do certain things. And I was like, okay, I think we can do this, but then it was this whole thing about, okay, I got to stay with you all day. I'll say, oh, no, wait a minute. I got things I got to do. So someone introduced me to, at the time, it was Little Bridge. And I was like, wait a minute, 4 hours and I don't have to be there? Wait, wait, Lord, you answered my prayer. Thank you, Jesus. So, and that's how I came to know you guys. And I was like, oh, this is amazing. And it was just the community was just a wonderful experience just to be in the kids, and that was the whole thing. I had family members to say, oh, you're homeschooling? They're just going to be weird and they're not going to have any socialization and they're not going to be able to do this and do that. And I'm like, I don't know what y'all talking about or what book y'all read or what story y'all saw, but they are in classes with other children their age. They are running, they are socializing, they are doing the same kinds of things that other kids do in public school and maybe even more. But the advantages that they had was just like, okay, all right, I don't have to do this. And we can do this. Oh, we can go out and do this too at the same time as learning. So it just opened up a whole new world of what's out there. And the other part is that I was learning things that I was like, well, wait a minute, we didn't learn this when I was their age and they're doing this. And the whole thing was like, well, wait, if they can do it at this age, even though they're not supposed to be, why are we stopping them?
Yeah.
So it was just, I'm just amazed of what has transpired over the years. So, I mean, because I've been homeschooling, oh my gosh, almost 10 years.
Right.
It's like,
Tell your
where
age,
did
right?
it go?
Yeah.
But it's so exciting to not only see your children growing, but learning and experiencing things that I don't think that they would have experienced being in the four walls,
Right. Gotcha.
because they can be outside of the box. They can be in a box, but it's not totally closed,
Right.
but we can get them to do things and experiencing things and they're learning about themselves too. So,
sure. Yeah.
You don't have the whole, and one thing that I would say is that looking at them at their age and then looking back when I was their age, and I'm like, wait a minute, are they immature or are they supposed to be acting like this because that's how they're supposed to be acting?
Right.
You know,
Right.
like they're not growing up as fast as I know that I was growing up.
Mm.
And looking at some of the children now in elementary and middle school,
Mhm.
that they're, and I don't even know if I want to say more mature, but they're doing things that they should not be doing at their
Mhm.
age.
Okay.
And then I'm looking at my kids and I'm like, I get it. Okay, I understand. It's nothing wrong with them. They're
Right.
supposed to act this way.
Yeah.
So,
What's for their age.
yeah.
Yeah. That's so
Yeah.
good. So Danita, can you talk about some of the supports? Because again, when we talk about single, especially for homeschooling from a single parent perspective, it's not like there are two of you there. So what are some of the things that you did? What were some of the and maybe this is for everyone, what were some of the scaffolding that you placed around your program around homeschooling so that you were able to do it successfully as a single parent?
I don't know if I have an answer to that. I actually was prepared to ask I was prepared to answer the last question, but how you just pushed it up on me.
Oh, okay.
So,
Well, you can answer
um,
some of the last question. Go ahead, and then actually Joy
I was,
too, because
I was
because
just
you have
gonna
a high
say,
schooler. So yes, go ahead. Mhm.
I didn't really get any backlash because there is nobody like
Mhm.
I'm it.
Right.
I'm not only am I a single parent, but I'm a only child. I'm an only child, and I also everybody knows I'm an educator. So it didn't shock anybody to find out that I was doing that. They were like, "Oh, yeah, that makes sense. If anybody can do it, you can."
Right.
That was kind of how they took things. So, when we first started fourth grade, I didn't know anything about a co-op. So when I say I did it all, I literally sat down every Sunday evening and went through every lesson, every subject, and I think I was doing 6 or 7 subjects.
Wow.
And did every subject and planned out my lesson, wrote out my lesson for the week. And we would sit there and I would say, you can do this in the morning. It was like more like school than homeschool really is. So that's how that was flowing. But as far as structure or a support system, yeah, I wish I could say that I felt like I had one, but because I was also at the very early stages, like right at the end of the fourth grade year, which is my first year homeschooling, April is when my father ended up in the hospital. So I became a caregiver on top of being a single parent homeschooling.
That's incredible.
And
That's incredible. That's incredible to do that and still, again, for folks that think that it's not possible, you're looking at somebody who you made it happen. You just did it. You just did it.
yeah, I don't know how. Like
Mm.
literally, when people say, I say, yeah, that was God. He just like picked me up and placed me at the end because I can't even details of the end. Like I was like,
Yeah.
did I turn it? I had to have turned in the grades because
Right.
we moved on, but I don't remember doing any of that. It was just like
Yeah.
go.
Now,
So
at that point, were you in a tutorial setting at that? Were you in a co-op setting, or were you still?
so April
Yeah.
at the end of fourth grade, no, I was fourth grade. I was still on my own.
Okay.
So I just finished out April and May. And then that was when I was like, I gotta find something because summer became more apparent that my dad was gonna need more care.
Right. Right.
So I was like, I gotta find help. Something's gotta give. And somebody was able to get me back connected to Extend, which I had already looked at. And when I came in, I said, I've been here before. So it was just like, oh, okay, it makes sense. If I'm here twice, then this must be the place I'm supposed to be. So that level of support, but I really didn't, know anybody, but the 2 people I did know would always talk me off the ledge when I felt like I'm not doing enough.
That's so important.
Because I was just like, I'm never here. I'm always I'm going from place to place trying to check on my dad and trying to check on my mom who was all of a sudden home alone for the first time in 60 something years, and how do I do it all and get him there? But I felt like, even though it seemed like it didn't make sense, I felt like homeschooling was the only thing that made sense because I needed that flexibility.
Yeah.
And I didn't feel like a public school setting was going to allow for me to actually be able to navigate like I needed to
Mm-hmm.
and say, we can't do that right now.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to have to do that later. I
Mhm.
needed that. And that's why I chose to stick to it, even after I had to get back, start another year. And then when my
Yeah.
dad passed early in the beginning of it in October, to go from that to immediately caregiving for my mother, moved her in with me. So
Yeah.
I needed to stick with that.
That's
So
beautiful. That's beautiful. Enjoy tell us about the support system that you had. How did that help you? What were some of the things that you saw in your homeschooling journey? And because you have a graduate now, right? Which is
I
so
do. I do.
fabulous. So
I
yeah, if you
do.
can share that. I know, right? Woo! There's this homeschooling through homeschool. Yes, we do.
Yes,
So
yes,
yes.
absolutely we do. So it's very similar to you, Kim. I became a widow during the time that during the homeschooling continuum.
Mhm.
So did not have that support, but I will forever be grateful, especially because I worked full time.
Mhm.
I will forever be grateful um, that someone told me about, I think was it Bridge at the time? Was it Bridge?
Yeah, probably Bridge. Yeah, we used to be Bridge Elementary Tutorial Homeschool Ministries, and then we
Mhm.
became Extend. Yeah,
Then we
because we
became
were
Right.
extending
Extend.
into high school. Yeah.
Yes,
Mhm.
yes, yes. So I'll forever be grateful for someone introducing me to that level of support. It was the co-op program was exactly what I needed, was exactly what my child needed at the time. Not just for the schooling and the academic
Mhm.
aspect, but also for the socialization.
Mhm.
He was able to get that through the co-op program. Um, I also appreciate the attention that the homeschool program paid to keeping our children and teachers safe
Yeah.
through the pandemic. I thought that was exceptional planning on the part of you and the
mhm.
other directors, Kim. I
Oh,
still don't know
thank
how you
you.
did it, how you kept a focus on the academics,
Yeah.
a focus on the program just in general, and then
Thank you.
this side focus that was huge and incredible on
Mhm.
keeping students and teachers safe
Yeah.
while still affording students the ability to come together
Mhm.
and learn together at a
Yeah.
certain point. So,
Thank you.
it was that, and then it was the flexibility
Mhm.
that homeschooling presented, because we were able to have a number of opportunities through the co-op,
Mhm.
and then we were able to have opportunities through other programs,
Mhm.
online programs
Mhm.
that I would not poo poo. If you're out there listening, don't poo poo online do your research. There are some very strong online programs out there. So the
Yeah.
fact that I had this control felt really good to piece together is not the phrase I want to use. To put together a
To
program.
curate.
There,
Curate.
Curate. Yeah, that's a good word.
Yes.
To
that's why you're the
curate. Yes,
educator.
it's
Thank
curate.
you,
Right.
Deanna. To curate
Yes.
a holistic program for my son that would meet his needs, and then to be able to have that during the time that his dad passed away
Mhm.
was
Mhm.
just I
Yeah.
phenomenal is the only word I can think of.
Wow.
I don't know that we would have had the flexibility that we needed
Mhm.
in a regular schooling environment. Maybe, but
Right.
we certainly had it
Yeah.
with the homeschooling program.
That's
So
so
yeah.
good. That's so good. I would love to talk about outcomes because I think one of the things that happens, and I think this is whether you're homeschooling as a single parent or just homeschooling, period, right? There's always this thing, well, what about the kids? What about the outcomes? How are they really doing? And so if you can talk, and of course, you just use my son or my daughter, you don't need to use names or anything because we want to preserve that. But if you can just talk about what your outcomes have been. What are some of the things that you've experienced as a result? Your students have experienced as a result of homeschooling. And we can go around the room again. Amber,
Okay.
then Danita, then Joy. I love this little round table.
So, just a little tidbit. I'm actually on disability. I'm disabled and a single mom. So, and oh my gosh. So now I have a high schooler and one that's about to go into 8th grade. The one that's in high school, actually, I kind of pushed them out into a different type of platform.
Okay. And so tell us how that went. Like what were some of the
Okay.
things that you noticed as a result of that?
So he's in a Christian school, Christian high school, and he hates it. He hates it.
Really?
He literally despises it. But here's the kicker. He's on the president honor roll. So that's like the highest honors that you can get. So he's not, but he hates it. He's like, Mom, you got me in this trash school.
Oh my word.
And I said, and the problem, and I said, well, what's wrong? And he's like, well, I don't understand why it's a Christian school. These kids are cussing. I'm like, okay. And, being in our homeschooling environment, we don't hear that. So he's not used to that. Again, he's been homeschooled for 8 years, and this is a big transition for him.
Yeah.
I said, okay, let's just stick it out for another year. He's like, I gotta wear the same uniform. I can't do this, and then my sister, she gets 6 months almost for a break. Well, that's not true.
Right. That's hyperbole. Yeah.
But he's missing it, but he's not missing it. He's still pushing towards the mark, but he hasn't found a community. I mean, he still has friends there, but it's not the same as his homeschool friends. He's still with them, and he still talks to them. And, of course, if they were at the school, it'd be fine.
Right.
But he doesn't like it, And
then share real quick, because before we got started, you told me something that he told you.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, he wanted to go back.
Oh yeah, he does. He wants to come back to home. Like if I said, we're not, you don't have to go to the school anymore, he would probably jump to the moon and come home, because he's like, oh, bet, I can be with my friends, I can hang out again, we can do whatever, Yeah. I'm like, come on, dude, I just want you to get situated with what's out there in the world and get to know other people, experience different things. And he's just, oh my gosh, every time he gets in the car, I was like, how's your day?
Wow.
I'm grumpy.
All right. Okay, so that's out. What I take from that, though, is that outcome one is he's seeing the difference, but at the same time, he's excelling where he is now.
Exactly.
Because of the foundation that you provide for him. Beautiful. Danita, tell us about your outcomes, and I will say this, Danita, if you wouldn't mind sharing, even again, single parent homeschooling, you were able to find incredible opportunities for your students. PJ?
Well, what are we talking about?
I thought wasn't there a cooking class or something that happened?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's okay. Well,
that was summer though.
Okay.
That was
still
summer.
Tell me your outcome story and all that.
Can I give an outcome story? He's still in school. I don't even know.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, yeah.
So,
like, what are
I have
a
rising freshman.
Yes.
Go
there
ahead.
you go. Mm-hmm.
I will say that what I do believe he was able to better adapt to is coming out of his fear of any kind of public speaking. And he despised me for signing him up for a speech, and AirPod just died. Hold on a second.
It's okay. Oh, I can hear you. I can hear you better.
That's um,
Mhm.
he despised me for signing him up for speech class. And then in addition to that, he had another class that had a lot of public speaking to it too, that I didn't know about. I was like,
Mhm.
I didn't know the other class was gonna have it too. Like, I signed you up for this one because I know you need to get out of your shell. And if you're into culinary arts, you're gonna have to explain what you cooked. You're gonna have to tell people, you're gonna have to sell your idea. Like, you can't just be in this thing and not want to talk in front of people. I feel like the community made him feel safer because he was able to establish friendships with the kids more so outside of school, because he doesn't play a sport. Generally, what happens in schools is that kids make elite alliances with other kids who play the sport that they do or in the club that they're in. And because he's in culinary, I don't think he would have wanted to do any of those other things that would have
Right.
connected him to other people. So as a result, the only thing that connected him was the fact that at Extend, these kids do things outside. It's your birthday, we're all coming to your house. It's your, or we're all going to Sky Zone, or we're all going for pizza, or we're going to have a whole day of things, or we're going to meet up at some rock climbing place and they're going to cheer him on and try to encourage him to get over his fear of heights. Those different things that he would not have had as
Mm.
much positive encouragement. I think he would have probably gotten more teasing from
Wow.
other scenarios. So I was grateful that that outcome was more important to me than anything, developing him as a person, because what I've always said, even as a teacher, I said, I don't care about no grades. That's probably why I don't teach now. I don't care about these grades. The grades